Okay, we are 2 days away from the NFC and AFC championship games, obviously with the NFL this weekend. And the NFC from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you've got the Washington Commanders taking on the Eagles. And then in Kansas City at Arrowhead, you have got the Buffalo Bills on the road trying to end the three-peat hopes, obviously, of the Kansas City Chiefs. So again, you've got some teams that were expected to be in this spot, obviously on the AFC side, Buffalo, Kansas City, and an Eagles team that, we kind of thought would be in this spot too. I know I picked the Rams, beat them last week, but regardless, we kind of thought the Eagles had a good chance of being in this position. The one shocking team, obviously by far, is the Washington Commanders. I'm glad Washington's here. Well, Detroit losing last week was something, but I'm happy for Washington. I hope nothing but the best for them. We're going to talk about both of these games in a minute and predict who will be in the Super Bowl in just 2 weeks from now. But folks, before we get into the predictions, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more NFL predictions here on the channel. We've been predicting every single NFL game here in 2024 and now into 2025, and we're going to have the Super Bowl prediction, of course, coming at you in a couple weeks here on the channel. And then, of course, we'll be back next year for weekly NFL predictions once more. And also, folks, make sure to go check out our daily college basketball best bets. We're doing this every single day until March Madness, so make sure to check that video out. Make sure to check those videos out if you haven't yet, along with our NBA predictions, which are also daily on the channel. And also, this week, we have our PFL Dubai predictions with Usman Nurmagomedov and Paul Hughes in the main event for the Bellator Lightweight Championship. It is Dagestan versus Ireland 2, so make sure to check that video out. We predicted every single fight in that card. Link is in the description down below. All right, let's get into the first game, the NFC Championship game. Yeah, we're taking the Washington Commanders. Guys, I don't think the Cinderella run ends just yet. I have fully bought in now to Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. We're going to take both the spread here, which you can either find at +5.5 for Washington or +6, but we're also taking the money line as well, +230. The Washington Commanders go into Philadelphia and win the football game. I know it is definitely a hot take, but I'm going with Washington here, guys. I think, again, something that has to be noted, too, this isn't even about the game itself here, but for Washington, guys, this is the worst the Commanders are going to be within the next, 5 years. This team hasn't even started peaking yet, and obviously this is Daniel's first year. They're going to put more pieces around him. This is still a fairly young team if we take away guys like Zach Ertz and obviously Bobby Wagner, but this is, for the most part, a young Washington Commanders team. And look where they're at now. They're in the NFC Championship game. I think they can go on the road here and beat Philadelphia. Now, the last time Washington went on the road to play Philly, they did lose by 8 points. The Commanders ended up winning the second game this season, obviously, against the Eagles, 36-33. A crazy victory for the Commanders, like hell most of their wins are. But Jaden Daniels has just been playing lights out so far in the postseason. The guy is legit. Some of those balls he was throwing the ball to De'Ami Brown deep against the Lions. And again, I didn't think anybody was beating the Lions. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really fully bought in to what Detroit was doing this season, and Washington walks into Ford Field and beats them. That was my whole thing this season. I was like, as long as the Lions get the 1 seed, I don't think anybody's going into that dome and beating them. And obviously, again, that's what the Commanders were able to do. Washington has not lost a game since they lost to the Cowboys at home in that crazy football game, but still, gotta give a lot of credit to Jaden Daniels. He is the reason this team is here, and the defense, I think, holding Detroit to 31 points, it's crazy, but that's big, man. It really is. And what that defense was able to do, they're able to force turnovers on Jared Goff, who, if they're able to force turnovers on Goff, I think they're ultimately going to be able to force turnovers on Jalen Hurts too. I think Goff, you might not want to hear it right now. I still think Goff is a pretty good quarterback, and the way they're able to shut down Jared Goff in that football game was absolutely huge. It was just a couple big plays, obviously, by Detroit. Hell, when I saw Washington go down 7-0, I was like, all right, this game's going to go how everyone thinks it's going to be. It's going to be a Detroit blowout. But no, Washington continuously was able to score. They were able to put pressure on Detroit, and the Lions weren't able to stop them in that entire game. Now, again, we'll see what Philly does, but I'll be honest, guys, Philadelphia is very mediocre so far in the playoffs. They've won, don't get me wrong, they've won at home, and they're going to get 3 straight home games, obviously, and this weekend is a chance to go to the Super Bowl if they're able to win their 3rd consecutive game at home, but they've been very unimpressive. They just have. Saquon Barkley's been, great, obviously, in that big 70-plus yard run to kind of clinch the win against the Rams, but obviously Stafford in Los Angeles had a chance at the end of the game, obviously couldn't capitalize. Now, when I saw Puka Nacua go get that ball on that 30-yard, 35-yard go route, I was like, oh, crap. the Los Angeles Rams are going to the NFC Championship game. Obviously, Philadelphia was still able to get it done, getting that stop in the red zone against Los Angeles to end the game. But I do worry some about Philly stopping the pass. I think on the ground, yeah, I mean, Philadelphia really shut down Kyren Williams. But guys, if it wasn't snowing, I think the Rams probably win that game. I'm gonna be honest. Los Angeles just made a lot of mistakes in the snow, whether it was Kyren Williams fumbling, whether it was Stafford fumbling. Those guys, again, a Los Angeles team just wasn't prepared to go play in the snow in freezing conditions in Philadelphia. That's not going to be the case for a team coming from Washington, D.C. or Landover, Maryland. I mean, I really don't think, and I don't believe it's snowing. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's supposed to be cold for this game. I'm going to check the weather forecast right now. Yeah, high of 43 degrees. This game's being played at 3, so 42 degrees. It's not going to be some crazy snow game like last week that the Eagles had against the Rams. And a snow game, guys, that is the exact style of game that favors the Philadelphia Eagles more than anybody else in the National Football League. Maybe the Detroit Lions, but the Lions are out, so who cares? Oh no, they're a dome team. Never mind. Just the way the Eagles play with that run attack, obviously with Hurts, with Barkley, obviously too. And again, the Eagles don't ask Jalen Hurts to do much. The thing is, this is the game where I think they're going to need him to do more. Not than just, keep on a read option, tush push, obviously run when you need him to, hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley. No, I think there's going to be moments in this game where the Eagles are going to be forced to throw the football. Again, we will see how Washington stops Saquon. The first time those two teams played, Saquon ran for 146 yards. The second game in Washington, Saquon ran for 150 yards. Again, you can expect Barkley to go off in every single game he plays. He's the best running back in football for a reason. But I think Washington's able to get some stops against Barkley and ultimately force Jalen Hurts to throw the football. And I think that's where Washington can win. Again, they forced Jared Goff to make mistakes. I think they can force Jalen Hurts to make mistakes as well. And I don't think Washington's going to be able to run the ball on Philadelphia. I mean, again, we've seen how that's gone for both Green Bay and Los Angeles. But what I do think is going to happen, I think Jayden Daniels is going to be able to effectively throw the ball on this team. I think so. Guys, if it wasn't snowing, I really think Stafford would have torn that Eagles defense up. I really think so. The Green Bay game, whatever, the Packers were just kind of fraudulent at the end of the year. They were dealing with injuries, sure. But this Washington team, man, the way they're able to move the ball downfield, Terry McLaurin, you get a guy like Diami Brown right now who's leading the team in receiving yards. Zach Ertz is always there on a 3rd and 4th down for Washington as well. Austin Eckler's been big up the backfield. And yes, I don't think Washington's going to be able to run much with Robinson, with Eckler, with Jeremy McNichols. But who is going to be the guy that's going to lead this team in rushing today or on Sunday? It's going to be Jayden Daniels. It's going to be the scrambling ability, and we will see how Philadelphia deals with that, obviously, in this third encounter with Washington this season. But the Washington defense has been playing pretty solid this year. They just got to find a way to stop the run, and I think they're going to do it. Again, I don't think Philly's a bad team. Obviously, they're in the NFC Championship game. I just don't think they've been all that impressive so far. And again, good for them. They've won these games, but they beat a Los Angeles team in the snow, and they beat probably one of the worst teams in the postseason this year in the Green Bay Packers, who just didn't show up to play in that game. I don't think Daniels is going to make the mistakes that Stafford made down the stretch against the Eagles. Obviously, the fumble and, again, Stafford's the reason they're in that game, but the fumble that Stafford had and Stafford throwing the ball away on 4th and 10, not even giving Puka a chance on 4th down. And I don't think, again, Daniel's going to play as badly as Jordan Love did in the wild card round. Again, I have fully bought into the Jayden Daniels hype. I mean, this guy, if he can win the Super Bowl in his rookie year, Jayden Daniels, guys, is going to be the highest paid player in NFL history this offseason. Washington should pay him, actually, regardless. The Commanders should pay Jayden Daniels and give him a 15-year contract. I'm serious. That's what they should do. They should lock this guy down, make him the highest paid player in all of professional sports. I don't know about the Ohtani and Soto contract, but in NFL history, lock this guy down and make him a Washington Commander for life and build this team around him when the Commanders go back to RFK in 5 years or whatnot. Jayden Daniels, of course, will be on the posters, and now I expect that regardless of him getting a monster contract or not. But they should really try to, again, build this team around Jayden Daniels. Well, obviously that's what they're doing, but they should lock up Jayden Daniels for the future. I think they go to Philadelphia and win. It might be a very hot take, sure, but I do think they can go into Philly and win this football game. Hell, I didn't think they were going to go to Tampa and win. I didn't think they were going to go to Detroit and win. I think going to Detroit and winning is more difficult than going to Philadelphia and winning. I get it's a division game. It's the rubber match. Obviously, the first one was won by Philadelphia in Philadelphia. The Commanders won the second one in Landover. I think the Commanders get the third in Philly. I think the Cinderella run continues. You got to find a way to stop Jaden Daniels, and I don't think the Eagles have the answer in this game. I think Daniels rises to the occasion when the lights are the brightest, and I'm taking the Washington Commanders to go on the road, beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Don't mind the +6 / the +5.5. I'm definitely going to play that as well, but we're also definitely sprinkling on the money line as well. Give me the Washington Commanders to win on the road in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and punch their ticket to the Super Bowl. The Commanders will await the winner of the Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, which we think it will be the Buffalo Bills. I'm taking both road teams here. I'm taking both road teams to win here in both the NFC and the AFC championship games. I think the Bills are the better football team. We talk about Philadelphia being somewhat unimpressive. That's fair. You know who's been even more unimpressive? It's obvious. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. Guys, we thought, maybe Kansas City would turn up in the postseason. They would be a different team in the playoffs, not just barely getting by. And sure, again, they were the least impressive 15-2 team of all time in the regular season. But we thought, okay, playoff start. Houston's been really bad all year. They're just going to mop the floor with this Texans team. No, they didn't. You can make the case the Texans should have won the football game. Again, I don't want to get into the officiating, but the officiating was god-awful. It just was. It was absolutely horrendous. I hope it's not this way again this week. I really hope the NFL doesn't put in the call and ensure that the Chiefs beat the Bills this week. Because you know that's what the league wants. They tell it to you, they show it to you every week when they pan the camera up to the suites in Kansas City. Let's just be honest. But it is what it is. The Bills are the better football team, guys. Josh Allen is the best player on the field. There's one team that beat the Kansas City Chiefs this season when the Chiefs starters were playing. That was the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Now they're going to go to Kansas City and beat them again. I get it. Josh Allen's numbers haven't been, insane in the postseason. I mean, 270 yards against the Broncos, 127 in the Ravens game. But what Allen's able to do with his legs, the throws that he needs to make in the clutch moments, that's where Josh Allen shines. Allen is yet to win a big-time football game against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. This is where it happens right now. If there was ever a time for it to happen, I do think it's right now, which is, again, I think Josh Allen right now is the worst team that he's had in the last 4 years, but that just goes to show how good Allen is. Again, he should win the Most Valuable Player award this season, even though, yes, I get it, Jackson's numbers are better. I think it should still go to Josh Allen. And I really think Josh Allen's the difference maker in this game. Guys, Mahomes is not special this year. He's not. Patrick Mahomes this season is a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. And that's kind of where I'd put him. I'll be honest with you. I will read you a list of quarterbacks, and I've done this before. I will give you a list of quarterbacks that I think are rated higher than Patrick Mahomes this season. I think Patrick Mahomes is the 13th best quarterback in the NFL. Actually, I made this before the playoffs, so this might not age all that well. I'll give you like 10. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Matthew Stafford, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Jaden Daniels. That's 10. I don't know if I feel all that good about a lot of those there, but because I made that at the end of the regular season. But Mahomes hasn't done anything since the regular season has ended. It's just some of these other guys haven't really performed in the playoffs. Justin Herbert. It's okay. It's okay. Mahomes is not elite this season, guys. And I think it's ridiculous, this whole argument that if Mahomes somehow wins the third straight Super Bowl this season, that he is now historically greater than Tom Brady. The same Tom Brady that beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl when he was 42, 43 years old. Okay, that's ridiculous. Mahomes, he wins his fourth and it's 3 in a row. It means it's better than Brady. Like, it's dumb. This is the end of the three-peat run this week, though. Buffalo's just the better football team. They are. Guys, Kansas City put up 23 points against the Texans. I'm not saying Buffalo's got, a mid-2010 Seattle Seahawks defense out there, or they got, the 85 Bears, but I think Buffalo's good enough to keep this Kansas City offense from going crazy. It's not, and that's not really, I'm not talking up the Bills here. I'm just saying the Chiefs offense is just not impressive. Other than Travis Kelce, the Chiefs offense is not all that great. Mahomes had 177 yards in the Texans game. Kelce had 117, but where they win? They win with penalties. And that's not me hating on Kansas City. That's a fact. They won that game last week because of their penalty yards. I'm not saying, legitimately, this isn't me saying that some of those calls shouldn't have gone one way or the other, but the reason they set themselves apart from Houston in that football game is because of the yards they got from penalties. It just is. So randomly this week, Buffalo is probably going to be a heavily penalized team, but it is what it is. The difference in this game is Josh Allen. Josh Allen has gone to Kansas City before. He is 0-2 in the postseason against Kansas City, once in the AFC Championship game, once in the divisional round of the playoffs where he scored with 13 seconds to put his team up by 3 points and they still couldn't get it done. Allen will ensure that Buffalo wins this game. We've seen this game before the season. Yes, it was in Orchard Park, but we have seen the Bills beat Kansas City, and they're the only team to do it this year against the starters. Allen will cook this team with his legs. He will make the big-time throws. The Bills are going to play up to the moment, and the Buffalo Bills are going to Kansas City, and they are winning the football game. That's the prediction. We're taking Buffalo +1, +110, whatever you want to take. Give me the Bills. Guys, the Chiefs' offense just is not impressive. Their defense, all right, is not bad, but here's the thing. Josh Allen's on the other side of the football. The difference between the Chiefs' game this week and their game last week in the divisional round against the Houston Texans is that last week they were facing C.J. Stroud, who, again, I think has got great potential to be a great quarterback in this league for a very long time. But this season, C.J. Stroud was not impressive. They're playing the guy who's the best quarterback in the NFL this year. They're playing the best QB in the NFL this year. They're not going to be able to just shut down Josh Allen. Buffalo scored 30 against them the last time they played. Can KC keep up? No. Guys, the Chiefs don't score points. They've scored 30 points 2 times all year long. They don't score. They're unimpressive. Guys, Mahomes threw for 170 yards, and their leading rusher was Kareem Hunt with 40 in the divisional round, and they beat the Texans by 9 points. The Texans had more than double their yards, but the Chiefs still won. It's ridiculous. And this is not hating on greatness or hating on a dynasty like people would like to say, oh, that's what people did to the Patriots. No, it was different. At least the Patriots actually won games, and they were impressive. Kansas City has been lackluster this entire season. They have not been a dominant force. This is where Buffalo goes in and just ends this crap. It's gotta end. This is where it's gonna happen. Josh Allen is the best player on the field this weekend, and the Buffalo Bills are going into Kansas City and winning. So ultimately, we're predicting a Buffalo Bills versus Washington Commanders Super Bowl, which, can Buffalo stop themselves from going 0-5 in the Super Bowl? Obviously, they lost 4 in the 90s with Jim Kelly as quarterback. That's something. We'll see. We will see. But that would be one hell of a game, man. I'd be very excited for a Buffalo Bills Washington Commanders Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl I want to watch. Probably the one I'm least interested in, even though I think it'd be a pretty good game. Eagles Chiefs. Like, it's just, I don't want to see the Chiefs play the Eagles again. We had to see them play the 49ers twice, to beat the 49ers twice in the Super Bowl, and then we're going to watch them play the Eagles twice again. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think if I had to rank the Super Bowl matchups, I'd probably go, I want to see Bills Commanders 1, then I go Eagles Bills, then I go Washington Kansas City, and then Kansas City Philadelphia. Just be honest with you guys. I just don't want to see Mahomes throw for 170 yards in the Super Bowl and win, and against Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, where, yeah, Saquon will probably have like 150 yards, but then, you know, Hurts will have just like 130 yards passing. And that's not me hating on Jalen Hurts. It's just that, like, that's just how both those teams play. But at least the Eagles are fun to watch when they do that. Kansas City, again, it's not like they're moving the ball on the ground. They move the ball because, oh, roughing the passer. Oh, there's a pass interference call. It's just, again, this is not me just bitching about the refs here. It is a fact, man. Watched that game last week, and it very well might happen again this week. We'll see. Again, we'll just have to wait and see. We'll see what bullcrap the NFL tries to pull for the Kansas City Chiefs this week. I sure as hope Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills can overcome it. All right. But again, it is what it is. I'm not picking with the heart here. I do think the Bills are the better football team. We've seen them beat Kansas City before the season, and I think they can do it again. I get it, going into Arrowhead's difficult, but this is Josh Allen's year, man. It just is. This is Allen's year. He is the consensus Not consensus. He's undoubtedly, though, one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL now, and I think the Bills get it done. Folks, thank y'all for watching our NFC and AFC Championship game predictions here on the channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more NFL predictions here on the channel. Make sure to leave a like and make sure, again, to leave a comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back for the Super Bowl in 2 weeks' time. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.